And with the 20th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Troy Fautanu, tackle, Washington.
There you go.
Now they got themselves a tackle for the second year in a row. Broderick Jones last year out of Georgia. Here they go to Washington as you see a very emotional Troy Fautanu. That is a cool moment to see him take this in. As he's going to love playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and his play style very much fits with the way the Pittsburgh Steelers love to play football. Watch him taking this all in. Very versatile. I think he's got 5-position flexibility. Elijah Vera-Tucker's who he reminded me coming out of USC. Elijah Vera-Tucker's played some guard, played some tackle. I think the Steelers, they announced him as a tackle, and that's where they'll let him compete. He is very athletic out of his stance. He explodes out of his stance. Watch his feet once he gets out there. Boom, quick feet, quick hands, and a jolting punch. Outstanding athleticism and anchor. Look at how low he's able to drop his weight right there and squat down versus a power rusher. Out in space, excellent. Think about those screens to Najee Harris out in space with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Jaylen Warren as well. They're going to have some fun using his very versatile skill set.
The wait is over for Troy Fautanu from Washington, the anchor Lance Zierlein of the Joe Moore award-winning offensive line given to the top O-line in college football this past year.
He is very, very physical, and I'm a member of the selection committee for the Joe Moore Awards. And when we watched, it just every single time 55 just kept popping up. He's got the body type of a classic tough guy guard who can move a little bit, but when you watch him at tackle at 34 inches, I just think he can end up staying out at tackle, whether it's left tackle, right tackle, or guard. And I think the Steelers are going to give him a chance to win the left tackle. Well, actually, I think they're going to swing him to right tackle, bring Broderick over to the left side is my guess. And if that happens, I think they've got a mauler brawler for years to come. He is a very physical run blocker, but what he gives you is that old school Steeler toughness. It's been missing for a while from the offensive line where they could just get downhill on you, pound the rock, and go. This is your first chance to go back to old school Steeler football, I mean, in a long, long time. But I think with the two bookend tackles that you've just taken in back-to-back drafts, I think you give yourself a real chance.
You give yourself a real chance. And remember, Arthur Smith takes over this offense. They're going to run the football. Arthur Smith is committed to running the football. You think about the personnel that they have in the backfield, Najee Harris, they want to be able to kind of impose their will. And even with Russell Wilson or Justin Fields coming over, it is still about the quarterback being a complement to what is a physical running game that complements a defense that sets the tone with turnovers and short fields.
Yeah, and that Texas game, by the way, you could see, like, this is Tavondre Sweat and Byron Murphy we're talking about at Texas. And Fautanu was really getting after those guys with down blocks, moving people around on the goal line. So he's a guy that I think Steeler fans are going to really, really like. And worst case scenario, he'll be your starting left guard for years to come as well. So I like those two. Players need to have 2-position flexibility. I think he probably has 3-position flexibility: left tackle, right tackle, and left guard.
The versatility matters. Physicality, toughness. He fits the brand. He gives them what they're trying to recreate, which is that physical, imposing presence at the point of attack.
And this was not a Steelers standard in terms of pass protection. Production from the offensive line over the course of the last couple of years. Probably same goes in terms of run blocking as well. Get a little bit of both here as they continue to upgrade that with GM Omar Khan and head coach Mike Tomlin now working with new quarterbacks and a brand new offensive lineman in Troy Fautanu.
With the 51st pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Zach Frazier, center, West Virginia.
Oh, I thought we were getting center. That would have been amazing. But it's Zach Frazier, the center from West Virginia. And they have hit the offensive line with their first 2 picks in this draft.
And think about last year in the first round as well with Broderick Jones. They've just remade this entire offensive line, and they've done it with guys with tremendous physicality. That's Frazier. We'll get into the wrestling background in a minute, but here's him at work, getting up to the second level, always under control, but then always looking to finish guys once he gets there. He can generate some movement in the run game. He can torque and turn you there at the point of attack. He was fun to watch, man. And then pass protection, always reworking his hands, always working to settle down and anchor down there. Here's this finish I'm talking about. Watch him get all the way down to the ground. The big-time wrestling background, Charles, that I mentioned, I said this earlier, his longest match his junior year was 51 seconds, so it was over in a hurry.
You mean the ones that he actually probably got to wrestle. He probably had a lot of what they call walkovers when guys just didn't show up to deal with him. But here you think about this with Pittsburgh. It's been perfect chalk for them. They came into this draft wanting an offensive tackle. They got him in Troy Fautanu first round. They came in this draft needing a center desperately. They got one of the top-ranked ones in Zach Frazier. And Pittsburgh has a center tradition, as we all know. The Ranger Ray Mansfield, Mike Webster, Dermontti Dawson, Marquise Pouncey, and now Zach Frazier gets his shot.
Not just wrestling, guys. He loves football. Very smart, high IQ. Coaching staff at West Virginia raved about him, obviously, but also said wherever he goes, that coaching staff is going to love him character-wise in that locker room.
I always look down when they get picked, and I pull up depth charts and I pull up additions and subtractions, and I still got to remind myself that Russell Wilson's playing quarterback along with Justin Fields for the Pittsburgh Steelers. What they've done in this draft is try and protect whoever's back there playing quarterback, and I do believe these guys that they've drafted, outstanding run blockers. These two backs they have are going to love these two additions.
Intelligence off the charts, National Football Foundation finalist for the Campbell Trophy, which is the academic Heisman, won this year by Oregon's Bo Nix, the new quarterback in Denver.
Fun stuff. Peter Schrager?
I had a GM tell me before this draft, the single toughest player in this entire draft class is Zach Frazier, with no doubt. We know about the broken leg. I'll also add this, Arthur Smith's team in Tennessee, with Derrick Henry running the ball and those big boys up front, this seems to have a bit of that character. Love these two picks, and of course the Steelers do too.
And the Steelers are going to be eating good with two offensive linemen thus far in this draft, now that Frazier is gone here, Lance.
Yeah, and Steelers needed a center. It was just a matter of time what the picks they had before they got a center. It was a matter of when they would prioritize it. And here they are prioritizing with the third best center on the board in this draft, and that is Zach Frazier. Zach Frazier is big and physical, but more importantly, he is a special leverage player. Anytime you talk to O-line coaches, you tell them that a player was a wrestler and a good wrestler in high school, well, they perk up. They perk up because they understand leverage. They have good core strength. They understand leverage. So rarely are they going to be pushed around. They have the type of power to neutralize the bigger players. And of course, as you see here in a lot of the the exo footage we have for you, he's got drive power as well. So he's a little limited from a range standpoint. He's not going to do a whole lot of outside zone. He's not going to cut off linebackers on the second level. What he's built for, though, is playing against the big guys from guard to guard. He can double team. He can play the zero techniques right in front of him. So this is it gets back to kind of Steeler football. We talked about yesterday with Fautanu at left tackle.
Toughness.
Now we got a center who has the same kind of toughness. But this doesn't look fun to me.
Hard pass on this one.
Just relentless.
I mean, look at what he's doing.
just
arm. That's
just relentless right
I
there.
did not think I could take him.
Oh my God!
That's not legal.
Oh my God!
That's what happened to Tony Khan.
Just so violent.
That's right.
Oh.
By the way, it was on NFL Network earlier with the neck brace. Still, look at the polar bears. Don't mess with the polar bears.
I'm sorry, but as an offensive line guy, I mean, you see the shoulders and the big chest,
big trunk,
big trunk, like that's what it's supposed to look like.
I
mean,
in toughness.
Yeah.
He was drubbing my man's face in the mat. That's
nasty.
Different dude right there.
Nasty. So, but you got Fautanu at left tackle / right tackle / guard, and you got Zach Frazier. We're bringing Nasty back to Pittsburgh.
Oh, Arthur Smith is letting it be known how they want to get down.
We're bringing Nasty back to Pittsburgh.
This is good. Najee Harris has got to be loving this, right?
Gotta love
Sitting there. Russell Wilson has got to be loving this as they, try to bring the bully back to the black and gold.
With the 84th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Roman Wilson, wide receiver,
Wolverine Palooza! Roman Wilson is going to Pittsburgh, and they are getting a sudden dominant Senior Bowler. Yeah, Rose Bowler, national champion. Mike Tomlin knows it. He knows it. When he goes to shop in Ann Arbor, he likes what he gets.
Remember when Quinyon Mitchell, when he got drafted, and I said Mike Tomlin went up to Quinyon Mitchell and said, challenge yourself, go up against Roman Wilson every single rep. Not only did Quinion Mitchell step up to the challenge, so did Roman Wilson in those battles. Ultra competitive, strong hands, big-time speed down the field. Used him on a lot of those over routes, those crossing routes. He showed at the Senior Bowl, he's got more to him. He's got more route polish. He showed the ability to run every single route on the route tree. As you see the Pittsburgh Steelers draft room really celebrating this one, they got a playmaker here and a wide receiver room with Deontay Johnson gone that needed an addition.
The misconception is because of their offense and their philosophy and their structure is that, well, their wide receivers weren't that great. No, it's just the philosophy that they chose.
With the 98th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Payton Wilson, linebacker, NC State.
All right, there you have it.
Yeah, Mike Tomlin got an upfront seat to see him at the Senior Bowl and see how athletic and the speed that was there. You see the comparison there, Kiko Alonso when he was coming out of college. That's who he reminded me of. The eyes are excellent. You think about instincts for off-the-ball linebackers. He can key and fill, and he's a very sure, firm tackler. In coverage, you got to cover to play linebacker in this league. Think about the guy he's going to join in Patrick Queen, how athletic he is. He's going to get a chance to do some of those same things. How about the speed and effort? Look at how fast that is. He ran 4.43, and you see it on the field. Here he is against Drake May, running him down from behind. I mean, we could do a 5-10 minute highlight film. He hit over, 22 miles per hour on this one against Notre Dame. I know Ian talked about the injuries. We've got the injuries, and that's part of the evaluation. But if you're asking me my opinion, you tell me I get 3 years of Payton Wilson. You can have 8 years of somebody else.
With the 119th pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Mason McCormick, guard, South Dakota State.
Here we go, Steelers!
Outstanding. I love this guy. Another one of those guys I'd pound the table for. Nearly 60 starts in college, 6-year guy. And DJ, when you look at him in his pads, he looks like Wyatt Teller, the way that he carries them and plays in a similar fashion.
They've revamped this offensive line over the last 2 years in Pittsburgh. Holy cow.
With the 178th pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Logan Lee, defensive end, Iowa. Peace, Detroit.
Hot mic there. I mean, people are getting excited. We got a hot mic over there in Detroit, but it's not stopping me from hearing the names called like Logan Lee. And if you really want to know the truth, this is one of the best fits that he could have found. I think Logan Lee is not a classic defensive tackle. He's not built like one. He's built like an old school 3-4 defensive end, the 3-4-5 technique, and that's where he goes. Pittsburgh Steelers are going to use him in that way. He can stack and shed as a 3-4 end. He's got good upper body power. He was part of a ferocious defensive front there in Iowa. So he really gets after it, a little bit limited athletically, but is going to compete for a backup role there.
With the 195th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Ryan Watts, defensive back, Texas.
Ryan Watts is height, weight, speed, athleticism.
All day long, East-West Shrine Bowl. Height, weight, speed, long arms, looks the part. As they would say in scouting parlance, he is a show pony. When you see him on the hoof, he looks exactly how you want him. He is a cutout for how you want your corners to look like. This dude, 6'2", over 200 pounds, play corner, can play safety, has some versatility. I like this. And for him to go to the Pittsburgh Steelers, it makes a lot of sense because the Steelers prefer guys to have a lot of those core traits at the position.
Yeah, I've got him as a 6th-round pick. I gave him a 5.8 grade, high on the 5.8, and that's usually going to be like a 6th-round pick right here. Let me throw some of these numbers at you. 4'5", 340, which is good. He's 6'3", 208, but he jumped 40.5 inches, which is huge. 10.5 broad jump. These numbers stood out to me, Bucky. When you run a 6.823 cone with a 4.13 Pro Shuttle, that's good quickness to go along with that the explosive hips. So I think worst case scenario, you're getting an athlete without question, but I think you're also getting a special teamer here. So then when they look at this, has a chance to be a core teamer and a backup safety.